Hello everyone, my name is Shocky Bane and today we're here to talk about stereotypes. This was an idea recommended from Nathan in the comments of the previous video, and I thought it was an interesting topic that we could branch off into this video and discuss it a little more. First off, if you don't know what a stereotype is, it is a image that is associated to a type of person. For instance, blondes being stupid. Not blondes aren't inherently stupid. Most blondes are pretty smart, but as a stereotype, they're often associated to be stupid and often used in jokes as being so. And out of blondes, there's a lot of stereotypes that have evolved on the internet. Some of them are pretty funny, like Bronies, and other ones have been just used to be hurtful, and it's kind of shameful, but we're going to try and keep a lighter note this time. First off, there are many kinds of stereotypes, and I'm not going to address them all because it would take hours. But anyway, a stereotype can be positive, but usually it's negative, and it's used to derive a person or associate them with something not very fun. For instance, when you play the game Team Fortress 2, you'll often run into people called Bronies. Bronies are mostly men, but there are some women, but they go by a different name. Brony is an abbreviation for a brother pony, and it's people who are fans of the show My Little Pony. The show itself, I don't find that interesting, but apparently what I see about them seeing it is that it's sort of a childish show, but it has sort of the same qualities as an anime does, so it may appeal to them that way, but out of that, I'm not really sure. But anyway, when you're playing, or not when, you know what I mean. When you run into these people, the brony is usually associated to be a overweight man in his late 30s. When people who aren't in the fandom are like trying to refer to them, that's the image that comes to their head. And that's really a shame that that's what they have to deal with, but they're not the only ones. Well, bronies themselves are probably the most prominent fan base at the moment, and there's been a lot of uprise about them. They're often very funny people, really, and like to joke about their fandom, but they're not really as into it as it might seem at first. So, whenever you see a brony, just say hi. Just treat him like a normal person. Next, we're going to move on to, like I said, Team Fortress. People who play Team Fortress. In Team Fortress, there's two stereotypes. There is the gibbous man, the absolute idiotic noob that everyone sees and everyone knows. The gibbous is an achievement hat that is earned when you dominate another player wearing the gibbous. This hat is often the first hat players find, and you can see a lot of people wearing it. Often it is partnered with the Pyrovision goggles, another item that is also gained from dominating a player who owns or not owns, is equipped with the item. But in itself, Pyrovision goggles and gibbous players, when other players see them, are usually associated to be idiots or just filthy casuals who just want to play the game for fun. And sometimes they are, but sometimes they aren't. I've seen people wearing gibbuses who have played this game for 3 years, who don't have another single item in their backpack. Why? Because they're nice people and they figure they don't need hats, or they just want to play other games. Then, on the other hand, there is the unusual junkie, the guy who's got all the flashing unusual effects, and his hat's on fire, and his mask has electricity coming out of it. His taunt makes a giant disco ball appear above his head, and he's got earbuds. Oh, man, I want to be that guy. But, that guy's usually associated to be the pro, but not just the pro. The kind of professional that has left, say, Call of Duty and gone onto this game to relish their superiority over the lesser generations of gibbous-wearing noobs and people with their unflashy hats. But in general, lots of people who have these unusuals don't care for them as much as other ones do. I've run into people that have unusuals that just like, yeah, I unboxed this once, it's pretty cool, but I don't care for it much. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But there are other people who make lives out of trading these just ridiculous hats. But that Stereotype has really evolved to make Team Fortress a lesser playing ground for people who are in the middle of the two. People who kind of want to have some hats, have gotten cool things from, say, promotional items. Like they got a cool item from a game that they pre-ordered, and they want to use it, but they always run into these people who are pub stomping with their unusuals and their lit up sniper rifles that have tens of thousands of kills from AFK servers, and that discourages them. But one thing I have to say before we go on about internet stereotypes is most of them are actually kind of true. It's TF2 stereotypes usually, but next up, we're going to move on to probably the final stereotype I will be discussing, and that is the fur fandom. The fur fandom is a group of people who have associated themselves with animals, and usually the anthropomorphic area of that kind of subgenre. When people think of furries, they usually think of the just annoying people. I myself have a few friends that are part of this fandom. Actually, I have friends that are a lot of part of fandoms. But when people associate with furries, they usually associate with people who are the top-notch people who are so extremely into their fandom. But usually that's not the case. Lots of these people, they say specifically like, I thought this one character from Pokemon or Digimon was cool, and that's about it. Yeah, but they're one of the most targeted fandoms. But actually, now that I think about it, there is another more targeted fandom. That would have to be the anime fandom. The anime fandom is probably the largest and mostly non-existent in previous years. Actually, none of these are really existent, but anyway, anime fans, or otakus as they call weeaboos to people who aren't the fans of the animus, are just generally late game men who are attracted to young girls, and honestly, they have some reason behind that. From what I've seen from friends who are fans of the anime, a lot of them are just showing just young women or just any kind of woman that has really, really hyper features that are just not very, well, unsexist. Let's just say that. They're very sexist. But lots of anime people just watch it because, well, they just find it fun, I guess. But, regardless if you're part of any of these stereotypes or fandoms, don't take me wrong. You're all nice people, and you shouldn't take offense from what I say, or from what anyone says. You should be proud that you like what you like. But that's going to about wrap it up for this session. I hope you enjoyed this little commentary, and if you think of anything else to talk about in the future, please leave a post in the comments below, and I will try and address it as quickly as possible. So, without further ado, I would like to bid you adieu. Goodbye.